In the 7th year of marriage to my wealthy husband Yi, an intimate video of him and his first love Liu Mianmian was leaked online. Unable to bear seeing Liu Mianmian attacked by gossip, Yi insisted on divorcing me, despite my pregnancy, to clear her name and give the child in her womb a complete family. In my previous life, I cried and protested, only to be humiliatingly thrown out and die miserably on the streets. This time, I readily agreed to the divorce, took half of Yi's assets, and went straight to the hospital for an abortion. Yi thought I would love him as much as in my previous life, and even if we divorced, I would foolishly give birth to his child and wait for him to come back, in order to ensure that the child in Liu Mianmian's womb would receive undivided love. He actually went to the hospital to have a vasectomy. Later, when Yi learned the truth, he went completely mad. Yunxi, Mianmian is simple-minded and fragile. To prevent her from being criticized and hurt further, I have no choice but to divorce you and marry Mianmian. Don't worry, once Mianmian gives birth and recovers from her trauma, I will remarry you. Reborn and back in the past, I stared at Yi's handsome face, decades younger, and felt a surge of hatred. Without a second thought, I slapped him, with a sharp smack. My palm stung, and Yi's face was knocked to the side by my slap. He hadn't expected me to strike him. Glaring at me furiously, he demanded, "Ji Yunxi, have you lost your mind? How dare you hit me?" Beside him, Liu Mianmian, with her swollen belly, wiped away tears. "Sister Yunxi, I know it's a bit too much to ask you to divorce A's, but wasn't it you who caused this mess?" Liu Mianmian cried her heart out, accusing me as if she were the complete victim. "If it weren't for your jealousy and thoughtless photoshopping to frame me in A's, I wouldn't be in this situation. I'm begging you. For the sake of my reputation and the child in my womb, I'll kneel to you." As Liu Mianmian finished speaking, Yi immediately held her in his arms. Liu Mianmian's reminder made Yi look at me with disgust. He roared at me, "Ji Yunxi, you were the one in the wrong this time. You made such a big deal out of it, causing Mianmian to be insulted and mocked. Did you ever think about the consequences? What I'm doing is just cleaning up the mess you made. I'm telling you, whether you want to or not. You're signing this today." Hearing Yi's forceful tone and seeing the disgust in his eyes, I remembered everything I had experienced in my previous life. In my previous life, it was the same. A video of Liu Mianmian and Yi being intimate suddenly went viral online, and Liu Mianmian threatened to kill herself, insisting that I was behind it all. Yi believed Liu Mianmian's words. He loved her deeply and couldn't bear to see her suffer even the slightest grievance. To comfort Liu Mianmian, Yi ultimately decided to divorce me and marry her. In my previous life, I was deeply in love with Yi and had just found out I was pregnant. I have been looking forward to the child in my belly for 7 years, and no matter what, I don't want my child to go through pregnancy and birth without a father by my side. I told Yi about the pregnancy and firmly refused to agree to a divorce. I thought that after 7 years of marriage and with me carrying his child, Yi would surely change his mind about marrying Liu Mianmian. I underestimated Yi's determination to protect Liu Mianmian and overestimated the importance of me and our child in his heart. Because I refused to divorce, Yi couldn't give an explanation to the woman he loved. A man whose heart belongs to another can be utterly ruthless. In order to force me into a divorce, Yi resorted to despicable and shameless tactics against me. When I was 4 months pregnant and found out I was carrying twins, rumors suddenly exploded online claiming I was secretly keeping a young lover. Fabricated videos, photos, and chat logs flooded the entire internet overnight. Yi filed for divorce on the grounds that I had an affair during our marriage and that he was not the biological father of the child I was carrying. He hired the best divorce lawyer, shifted all the blame onto me, and in the end, I was left with nothing, not a single penny. I had always believed that all of this was a malicious setup by someone with ulterior motives. I endured endless gossip and judgmental stares as I gave birth to Yi's child. I thought that once the child was born and a paternity test was done, it would prove my innocence. But I never expected Yi to keep avoiding me. He accompanied Liu Mianmian abroad for childbirth, bought a luxurious house overseas for her and her child, and spent his days with them, living in harmony and affection. It wasn't until my 2 children turned 1-year-old that Yi and Liu Mianmian returned from abroad. I took the 2 children to find Yi, hoping he would acknowledge them as his own. But I accidentally overheard the conversation between Yi Ziyi and Liu Mianmian. It turned out that Yi Ziyi was the real culprit. For the sake of his first love, he had gone mad and schemed against me, his wife. Shocked and unable to believe it, I missed a step and fell from the building, dying on the spot. Thinking about how I was played like a fool by that despicable pair in my past life, I wish I could bite Yi Ziyi. Seeing me remain silent, Yi Ziyi's patience ran out. Yunshi, for the sake of our time as husband and wife, I've given you a chance. If you don't agree, don't blame me. Yi Ziyi's gaze toward me was extremely cold, and his words were filled with threats. Having experienced betrayal and death, how could I possibly cling desperately? I grabbed the divorce agreement and skimmed through it. I'll sign it, but the divorce terms need to be changed. I want 60% of our marital assets. My agreement to divorce and demand for 60% of the assets took Yi Ziyi completely by surprise. What do you need so much money for? For security. I've been by your side for 7 years building our life together. I can't just walk away with nothing. Can I? Yi Ziyi was lost in thought, weighing his options, while Liu Mianmian on the other side was clearly displeased. The company belongs to AZE. You haven't done anything, so why should you take so much? Because I'm the other half on his marriage certificate. I sneered. I've been by Yi Ziyi's side, working hard for 7 years. I am his legitimate and lawful wife, and I have the right to claim my share of the marital property. Liu Mianmian naturally didn't want me to take away so much property, but Yi Ziyi made the final decision in order to be with the woman he loved. Fine, I'll give you 60% of the property as you requested. Let me make this clear, Yunshi, once you agree to the divorce, there's no going back. If you dare to change your mind, don't blame me for being ruthless. Yi Ziyi probably thought that my demand for 60% of the property was a tactic of playing hard to get. So he deliberately emphasized his warning to me. It wasn't until he saw me signing the revised divorce agreement without the slightest hesitation that Yi Ziyi's face turned grim. I didn't cling to Yi Ziyi and make a scene like I did in my previous life, nor did I cry and beg him, which made Yi Ziyi feel very upset. On the way to the Civil Affairs Bureau, Yi Ziyi had a gloomy face as if someone owed him hundreds of millions. Even when his beloved Liu Mianmian tried to talk to him, he barely responded. I turned a blind eye to Yi Ziyi's bad mood. Soon, I would free myself from a rotten person and start a new life, and I was extremely excited. Speaking of Yi Ziyi's assets, they are by no means small. After the divorce, I could get a share of hundreds of billions in family property. I was really foolish in my past life. With that much money, what kind of young, handsome man couldn't I find? Why should I put my sincere heart on this rotten cucumber right in front of me? I was planning in my heart what to do immediately after the divorce. The first thing to do was to abort the child in my womb. Since I've completely cut ties with Yi Ziyi, I don't want to have any further involvement with this vicious and shameless man. After getting the divorce certificate, I'll focus on recovering my health and then start my second spring. I've heard French men are very charming. I need to go to France and find a tall, handsome, and young guy to experience French romance firsthand. With these delightful plans in mind, I couldn't wait to be the first to sign the divorce application. When we arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau, Yi Ziyi, who was following behind me, hesitated for a moment before finally picking up the pen and writing his name after a long pause. After handing the divorce registration form to the staff, I turned and left without looking back. Yi Ziyi chased after me and called out, "Yunshi, slow down, you're still pregnant. Be careful not to slip and hurt the baby." His words made me stop in my tracks immediately, and I stared at him as if I'd seen a ghost. How did Yi Ziyi know about my pregnancy? In my previous life, in order to avoid divorcing Yi Ziyi, I took the initiative to tell him about my pregnancy. After being reborn in this life, I just received the pregnancy test report and haven't revealed a single word to Yi Ziyi. So how did Yi Ziyi find out about my pregnancy? Is Yi Ziyi back too? I thought to myself, as Liu Mianmian, who had been following us, looked at me with hatred in her eyes. I blurted out in surprise, "She's pregnant. When did this happen?" I didn't say anything, just looked at Yi Ziyi, waiting for his answer. Yi Ziyi, feeling a bit uncomfortable under my gaze, actually reached out to take my hand. "Yunshi, I just found out about your pregnancy. Don't worry, our divorce was fake. I won't abandon you and the child. By the way, you're carrying twins, so you must be extra careful when we get back." I'll hire a few nannies to take care of you and attend to you closely. Not only did Yizhi know I was pregnant, but he also knew I was carrying twins. I was absolutely certain that Yizhi had also returned. His hand holding mine felt like being touched by a snake's tongue, cold, slippery, and utterly repulsive. I abruptly shook off Yizhi's hand and interrupted him. No need, since we're divorced, we should act like it. I can handle my own affairs without your concern. Yizhi stared at me intently and repeated, Yunshi, I told you it's a fake divorce, we'll get back together in the future. Disgusting scumbag. What does he mean by putting on this act, regretting giving me so much property? I've experienced Yizhi's methods firsthand. Speaking of which, there's a 1-month cooling off period for divorce. During this month, nothing must go wrong. Suppressing the disgust in my heart, I changed my expression. I know our divorce is fake. Just to avoid unnecessary trouble, from now on, we should no longer have any contact. After all, Miss Liu is innocent and fragile, unable to handle complications. I don't want to push Miss Liu Mian into the spotlight again because of my interactions with you. My words seemed to touch a nerve in Yizhi. His expression turned very unpleasant, and he seemed to want to say something more to me. Over there, Liu Mian, swaying unsteadily, grabbed Yizhi's hand. I'm dizzy, I can't see. Liu Mian collapsed weakly onto Yizhi, diverting his attention. I immediately seized the opportunity to slip away, to make a clean break with Yizhi. I rushed straight to the obstetrics and gynecology department right after leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau. From having blood drawn for tests to lying on the operating table and completing the surgery, it took less than 2 hours. An abortion is no small matter. It really takes a toll on the body. What I need now is to take good care of myself. After leaving the hospital, I immediately checked into the city's most expensive and best postpartum care center to start recuperating. While enjoying delicious and nutritious postpartum meals at the care center, I received many photos from unfamiliar numbers, hands tightly clasped together, affectionate and tender kisses. Liu Mian initially only sent me intimate photos of her and Yizhi. When she saw that I didn't react much, she started escalating. Yizhi and I have already discussed it. Our wedding is scheduled for next month. Yizhi spent a fortune to hire the most famous wedding dress designer to create 18 gowns for me. He also custom-made a One Love for Life wedding ring for me, with a diamond on it that he had someone spend 300 million to acquire at an auction. Oh, and we're having 3 wedding ceremonies. This was Yizhi's promise to me. 1 will be held domestically, and 2 abroad. The estimated cost is 1 billion. Jealous, aren't you? It's truly enviable. After all, when Yizhi and I got married, we didn't even have a simple wedding ceremony. At that time, Yizhi faced many difficulties. No money to buy a wedding dress or hold a ceremony, let alone a so-called pigeon egg engagement ring. Back then, I was foolishly captivated by his face and convinced of his talent, so I just dove in head first. Yizhi had nothing to his name, so I used all my assets to pave the way for him. We got married without any ceremony, just went directly to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register, and then casually invited a few close friends for a meal to mark the occasion. I clearly remember Yizhi holding me on our wedding night, emotionally promising, Yunshi, you are all I have. Thank you for staying with me and believing in me. I will definitely succeed. Once I succeed, I will give you a grand wedding. Yizhi has indeed succeeded, over the past 7 years. Yizhi's business has grown larger and larger, and he has made more and more money, but he has never mentioned the wedding. I always thought he was busy and didn't have time, but now, after seeing Liu Mian's message, I realize it's not that he's busy, but rather that I'm not the one he truly holds in his heart. Although I've already decided to let go of Yizhi and no longer care about what he and Liu Mian do, the photos and messages Liu Mian sent still cause some pain in my heart. I was feeling upset when Yizhi actually called me. I didn't answer Yizhi's call. After he made several calls in a row and saw that I was ignoring him, he switched to sending text messages. Why aren't you answering my call? Are you angry with me? Yunshi, what a shameless scumbag. He still thinks I'm the same fool from my past life who was hopelessly in love with him. I continued to ignore him, while Yizhi offered a heartfelt apology. Yunshi, be good. I know you're upset right now, and I deliberately waited a few days to cool off before coming to you. To be honest, I had no choice. Who told you to cause such a mess and hurt Mian? Mian has depression, and she can't handle stress. I'll be spending time with her for now. But I'll make time to visit you and accompany you for your prenatal checkups. What are you thinking, you scumbag? Your child has already turned into a pool of blood, I sneered, and Yi immediately tried to ingratiate himself again. Yunshi, I sent someone to deliver your favorite fruits and cake. The delivery person said you weren't home. Where did you go? For some reason, Yi was extremely patient. Even when I didn't speak, he kept sending me messages, talking to himself. Is the baby not bothering you? I've heard that pregnant women often experience morning sickness. If you feel uncomfortable from morning sickness, remember to tell me. I'll come take care of you right away. Yunshi, please talk to me. Okay, if you're angry with me, just send me a message and scold me. Don't stay silent like this. It makes me really worried about you and the baby. This is truly the sun rising from the west, since Liu Mianmian came back. Yi has been increasingly cold towards me. I send him messages 10 times, and he doesn't respond 9 times. Even when he does reply, it's just simple words like okay, oh, or got it. Now, why on earth is he putting in so much effort to send such long messages? I remember it very clearly. In my previous life, I told Yi that I was pregnant, but he left without a moment's hesitation to go with Liu Mianmian. Not only did he not bring any fruitcake, but he didn't even utter a single word of concern. Is this life haunted or something? Why is he constantly checking in on me and showing concern for the baby in my belly? What exactly is Yi trying to do? I don't believe for a second that Yi is genuinely worried about me or cares about the child in my womb. Before knowing Yi's intentions, I continued to ignore his messages. I thought Yi was just testing me, but I didn't expect that over the next 2 days, he would continue to send me daily greetings. His words, both explicit and implicit, showed that he placed great importance on the child in my womb. The level of cheesiness made me wonder, had Yi been cursed after being reborn? I can't figure it out on my end. Liu Mianmian sent me a photo. The photo shows Yi and Liu Mianmian together at the hospital. They are in the doctor's office, and Yi is holding a pen, signing a surgical consent form. Is Yi sick? I zoomed in on the surgical consent form with confusion, and when I clearly saw the word sterilization surgery on the form, my eyes widened in shock. Birth control surgery. Who performed it? Could it be Yi? No way. Why would Yi have a birth control surgery? Is he crazy? I was full of questions with no answers, feeling as restless as a cat scratching. Fortunately, Liu Mianmian didn't keep me in suspense and proudly told me the answer. Yi is scheduled for a sterilization surgery today. And I'm the one who asked him to do it, Liu Mianmian proudly told me, wanting to show off how much Yi loves her. In the year when Yi and I were most deeply in love, we made a vow that I would only bear children for him in this lifetime, and he would only let me bear his children. That's strange. I remember very clearly that the child in Liu Mianmian's belly isn't Yi's. Yi loves me too much. He knows I had no choice but to leave him back then. Knows I was forced into this pregnancy, and also knows my current health condition makes it impossible to terminate the pregnancy. So he decided to accept the child in my belly, to prevent me from overthinking and affecting the health of my unborn child. He's decided to undergo sterilization to prove his love for me. From now on, Yi will devote all his love solely to the child in my womb. I was shocked. He's giving up his ability to have children for the sake of Liu Mianmian's unborn child. What earth-shattering, deeply moving love is this? Yi is actually sacrificing this much for his love of Liu Mianmian. His love for her deserves to be recorded in history books, doesn't it? Liu Mianmian continued her long-winded tirade to provoke me. Don't think that just because you're pregnant, you can control A's. Let me tell you, in A's heart, I will always be the only one. He's willing to get a vasectomy for me and my child, so he definitely won't care about the baby in your belly. So, if you know what's good for you, go and get rid of the child yourself. Seeing this, I couldn't help but laugh. Finally understanding why Yi had suddenly started showing so much concern for me and the baby in my womb, he promised Liu Mianmian that he would undergo a vasectomy, meaning he would never have children of his own in the future. Yi was convinced that I was hopelessly in love with him and thought I would give birth to his child without any regrets. In my previous life, I truly loved Yi to death, and I gave birth to his child at all costs. In this life, Yi must think I'm as foolish as I was in my past life. He is convinced that I will give birth to his child, which is why he agreed to undergo sterilization surgery to appease the supposedly ill Liu Mianmian. It's clear that Yi Zed's love for Liu Mianmian is truly something else. He could even agree to such an outrageous condition. I burst into laughter. Yi Ze, oh Yi Ze. You must have never expected that I would get rid of the child, did you? If Yi Ze knew that the child in my womb had long turned into a pool of blood, would he still promise to have a vasectomy? The answer is no. I'm laughing so hard over here, I'm doubled over and tears are streaming from my eyes. My phone made a sound, and I glanced at it to see that Yez had sent another message. Yunshi, why aren't you replying? How is the child doing now? Yez actually asked me about the child. Which proves his love for Liu Mianmian isn't that pure after all. Right, before deciding on the surgery, Yi Ze was still quite worried about the child in my womb. After all, if he really went through with the sterilization, he would never have an heir for the rest of his life. Yi Ze was no fool. So of course he had to make sure, and of course, I had to set Yi Zed's mind completely at ease. After all, being able to get revenge without shedding blood is a great thing for me. I stopped smiling and typed 2 words back. Very good. My reply made Yi Ze very happy, and he continued to show concern for me. Yunshi, I'm very worried about you. I know you're angry with me, and I've been reflecting on it these past few days. I was too harsh on you. Please forgive me. Okay, haha, who doesn't know how to say sweet lies? I replied, I won't blame you. After all, you had no choice either. We've already become like strangers, only the final step remains. Of course, I won't blame him. Not only do I not blame him, but I also wish him and Liu Mianmian to be locked together forever and never separate. I always knew my wife is the most understanding. Yunshi, the one I love has always been you. Mianmian is just a responsibility. After all, she has suffered so much unfair treatment because of me. During this time, please take good care of yourself and the child. Once I settle things here, I will come to pick you and the child up and bring you home. I fell into deep thought as I looked at the message Yi Ze sent. Yi Ze said that Liu Mianmian became like this because of him. That's strange. From what I know, Liu Mianmian and Yi Ze are indeed childhood sweethearts, and their love story could really fill a book. Yi Zed's father was a high-ranking military district commander, and Liu Mianmian was a childhood friend who grew up with him in the military compound. Since childhood, the people in the compound had considered them a perfect match made in heaven. However, after Yi Zed's father fell from power, the protagonist's halo around Yi Ze vanished. His childhood sweetheart, Liu Mianmian, unwilling to endure hardship with Yi Ze, who now had no future as the son of a fallen corrupt official, began to have other thoughts. I know this because in my previous life, I personally witnessed Liu Mianmian actively pursuing a wealthy second-generation heir I knew while she was still in a relationship with Yi Ze. So what exactly did Yi Ze mean when he said Liu Mianmian had sacrificed so much for him? Even after starting over, I still know very little about Liu Mianmian's situation. In my previous life, my eyes were only on Yi Ze, only on the child in my womb, only caring about whether Yi Ze loved me or not. I'm no longer interested in Yi Ze in this lifetime. But some things are better clarified. I sent Yi Ze the fake fetal ultrasound photo I had prepared earlier. When Yi Ze sees the ultrasound, he will definitely go ask the doctor for detailed information, and the doctor will surely give him a satisfactory answer. This is just the first step. I still have one more thing to figure out. I dialed a phone number. Can you help me look into Liu Mianmian? I want to know everything she's been through over the years. The more detailed the better. Price is not an issue. After confirming that I still loved him as much as I did in my past life and ensuring that the baby in my womb was safe and sound, Yi Ze finally felt relieved and underwent a sterilization procedure the next day. 3 days later, I received an investigation report about Liu Mianmian. When I opened the investigation file, the first thing that caught my eye were several close-up photos that left me utterly stunned, completely unprepared. I was shocked at the sight of these images, feeling nauseous to the point where I rushed to the bathroom and vomited uncontrollably. After I had calmed down and mustered enough mental preparation, I picked up the investigation materials and carefully read through them. I had formed a complete plan in my mind. I turned off my phone and rested at the postpartum center for over 20 days before leaving. When I left, I turned on my phone. Missed calls and messages kept popping up. They were all from Yi Ze and Liu Mianmian. Yes kept sending me messages, asking, "Wife, Yunshi, where are you? Say something. Will you? Why aren't you answering me? Are you and the baby okay? I'm so worried about you. Yunshi, please, I'm begging you, just reply to me, okay?" Ignoring Yes. I opened the chat window for Liu Mianmian's alternate account. At first, it was all Liu Mianmian blatantly showing off her affection with Yizi. But these displays didn't last long and quickly turned into attacks and insults directed at me. "Ji Yunshi, you bitch, where the hell have you been hiding? Do you think hiding away can ruin my marriage with A's? How dare you play me? Just you wait, I'm going to kill you," with a smile on my lips. I got into the taxi I had called in advance. Before getting in, I sent a message to Yizi. "I just got home. What do you want with me?" Yizi arrived quickly. He pushed the door open, panting heavily, and breathed a sigh of relief when he saw me sitting unharmed in the living room. Right after, Yizi rushed up to me. "Ji Yunshi, where have you been these past few days? Why haven't you answered my calls or replied to my messages?" I spread my hands innocently. I was feeling down and went out of town to rest. And then I lost my phone. Losing your phone is no excuse. Couldn't you have bought a new one right away? That place was really remote, and I couldn't get a new phone right away. Besides, I didn't think anyone would care whether I was around or not. Yizi sneered upon hearing my words. "Fine, Ji Yunshi, you've grown some nerve, haven't you? You did this on purpose, didn't you? Ji Yunshi, are you trying to get back at me? I don't understand what you're talking about." I pretended to be clueless. Still playing dumb. "You did this deliberately because I'm going to marry Mian Mian, just to make me anxious, right? I thought you were sensible and knew your place. But I never expected you haven't changed your jealous nature one bit." Watching Yizi's furious expression, I let out a cold laugh. "Don't you find your words ridiculous? What jealousy? Who would be jealous over me? You, President Yi, have you forgotten that we are already divorced? You and I have long been irrelevant to each other. You're simply unreasonable." Yizi was so infuriated by my words that he was gasping for breath. "Haven't I told you that my relationship with Liu Mianmian is just an act? I married her only because she was sick and to take care of her emotions. Why can't you believe me? Whether I believe you or not is not important. What matters is that we are already divorced." I glanced at the time and said, "The divorce cooling off period is 30 days, and it's already been 29 days. Tomorrow will be the 30th day. Let's go get our divorce certificate tomorrow." My initiative to bring up getting the divorce certificate made Yizi's expression change unpredictably. He stared at me over and over, and I knew he was weighing his options. He had once been willing to do anything for Liu Mianmian without hesitation, but after the sterilization surgery, Yizi had more reservations. He knew in his heart that if he went with me to get that divorce certificate, things could spiral out of control. And that would be disastrous. Yizi hesitated. "There's no rush to get the divorce certificate." "What do you mean there's no rush? Aren't you worried about Miss Liu having an episode? If something happens to her because of this, you'll blame yourself for the rest of your life." I said, "There's no rush, let me think it over." Yizi yelled at me. He was very flustered, and immediately apologized after shouting, "Yunshi, I was just too worried about you that I got angry. Don't take it to heart. You need to take good care of our child, and make sure nothing happens to the baby. What about your wedding with Miss Liu? Let's delay it for a few days. I'll try to keep her calm first. If we can avoid getting married, then we won't get divorced and can continue to be together." Yizi did his utmost to coax me for the sake of the child, saying all kinds of sweet words. He didn't know that I had my phone on, transmitting everything he said to me to Liu Mianmian. Liu Mianmian was waiting for me and Yizi to get divorced so she could marry him. But now an unexpected situation has occurred. How could Liu Mianmian bear it? I know she can't wait any longer, and I know she's going to find a way to harm me, and I was already prepared, waiting for her, in my previous life. I was foolish and let my guard down, which is why I was hurt by her and Yizi. This time around, I will repay them 1,000-fold for the humiliation I suffered in my past life. That night, while I was out for a walk, I was kidnapped. The kidnapper took me out of the city and dropped me off outside an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts. I found a stick on the ground and walked step by step toward the abandoned warehouse. The warehouse was pitch black, so dark that I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. I stood quietly outside the warehouse, listening for any movement inside. At first, the warehouse was very quiet, but then slowly, The sound of a phone call started coming from inside. Where are the people? Why haven't they been delivered yet? I've been waiting here for 2 hours. How are you handling things? Hearing the familiar voice of Liu Mian, I walked slowly to the warehouse door with a cold smile on my lips. I don't know what the person on the other end of the phone said to Liu Mian, but her voice rose several notches. What? You let her escape halfway. What are you all good for? I'm telling you. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find that bitch Ji Yunxi for me. If not, just deal with her directly. I listened to Liu Mian's raised, frantic voice as I kicked the iron door of the warehouse. Hearing the noise, Liu Mian turned around and saw me, immediately hanging up the phone. Ji Yunxi, you've finally come, I replied with a smile. Since you asked me to come, how could I not show up, if I didn't? Your little play today would be missing its supporting actress and couldn't go on, so no matter what, I had to come here to find you and put on a good show with you. Seeing that I wasn't the least bit afraid, Liu Mian was taken aback at first, then let out a series of cold laughs. You know I'm going to deal with you. Yet you still dare to come. Are you really that stupid or just pretending? What do you think? I sneered back. You wretched woman, I was going to let you off. But I never expected you to play so many tricks on me just because you're pregnant. Liu Mian glared at me with venomous resentment. You deliberately turned off your phone and disappeared during this time, making RZE worry about you, trying to get him to postpone marrying me. You've really got it all figured out, haven't you? I really underestimated you. I laughed. Compared to you, I'm just a small fry. After all, these are all tricks you've already played, aren't they? Feeling confident makes a difference, doesn't it? You don't actually think that just because you're pregnant, you've got a get out of jail free card, do you? Let me tell you, you're thinking too much. Today, I'll turn the child in your belly into a pool of blood. As Liu Mian's venomous words fell, I raised my hand and slapped her hard across the face. Liu Mian did not expect me to strike first, and in her anger, she grabbed a dagger and rushed at me with a scream. I had been prepared all along, pulling out the stick hidden behind my back and delivering a fierce blow directly at Liu Mian. Liu Mian couldn't dodge in time and, after taking a heavy hit from the stick, collapsed to the ground. She tried to get up, but I didn't give her the chance. Directly riding on Liu Mian, I grabbed her hair and began slapping her face from both sides. The crisp sound of slaps crackled incessantly. The hatred from 2 lifetimes drove me to exhaust all my strength in continuously beating her without pause. By the end, my hand had gone numb from the slapping. Liu Mian didn't fare well either. Blood was gushing from her nose and mouth, but she was actually laughing. You're dead, Ji Yunxi, you're dead, is that so? Then we'll just have to wait and see. Isn't it just that you want to use the non-existent child in your belly to frame me? I'll grant your wish. After saying that, I stood up, picked up the stick beside me, and aimed it viciously at Liu Mian's stomach, striking down hard. Screams echoed through the warehouse as I raised the stick and struck again and again. Liu Mian's face twisted into a grimace. She was a pervert too, and she actually laughed. I struck her again and again with force, until Liu Mian could no longer laugh. Beneath her, a bright red slowly trickled out, staining the soil on the ground. She then fell into unconsciousness. After I grew tired from hitting her, I threw down the baseball bat, grabbed some of the blood that had flowed from Liu Mian, and smeared it on myself a few times. Then, upon hearing the sound of a car outside, I also lay down beside Liu Mian. Yi Ziyi rushed in and was stunned to see both me and Liu Mian lying in a pool of blood. He screamed heart-wrenchingly, "Doctor, someone, come quickly." Liu Mian and I were rushed to the hospital, and the baby in her womb was lost. Not only that, but she herself suffered significant trauma. The doctors performed a 7 to 8 hour surgery on Liu Mian. In the end, Liu Mian was sent to the intensive care unit. The doctors said she would never be able to have children again in her lifetime. As for me, I only had minor bleeding and was sent back to the ward after emergency treatment. Yi Ziyi had been waiting outside my ward for news. As soon as the operating room door opened, he rushed forward eagerly to ask about the situation. "How is the child? Is everything all right?" "The child is fine, but the adult was quite frightened. They just need a few days of rest to recover." Hearing the doctor say this, Yi Ziyi breathed a sigh of relief. He arranged for a caregiver for me before hurriedly rushing off to find Liu Mian. Liu Mian slept for a full day and night before waking up. As soon as she regained consciousness, Her first instinct was to call the police and have me arrested. She told Yi that I was the murderer, that I was responsible for the death of the child in her womb, and she wanted me to pay with my blood. Liu Mian was screaming like a madwoman and trying to fight me. I don't know how Yi managed to comfort Liu Mian, but after screaming for a full 2 hours, she finally calmed down. Then Yi came to find me. He had the caregiver push me in a wheelchair to the Civil Affairs Bureau to handle the divorce. Along the way, Yi kept complaining about me incessantly. It's all your fault. I had already decided not to divorce you, but you had to go and do something so outrageous to cause me trouble. Ji Yunshi, why can't you ever change your ways? I didn't say anything, just stared indifferently ahead. After arriving at the Civil Affairs Bureau, we quickly completed the procedures and obtained the divorce certificate. After putting the divorce certificate in my pocket, a smile appeared on my face. Yi, however, had a gloomy expression. Are you this happy to divorce me? Ji Yunshi, have you lost your mind? I didn't want to say a single word to him. Yi instructed the caregiver, keep a close watch on my wife. If there's even the slightest mishap with the precious child in her womb, I'll hold you accountable, right now. Yi's only concern is the safety of the child in my belly. I gave him a meaningful smile and was wheeled away by the caregiver. Yi, I hope you'll like the gift I'm about to give you. Liu Mian was discharged from the hospital after just half a month of rest and couldn't wait to hold the wedding with Yi. Yi's patience with Liu Mian wasn't as good as it had been before. He would often come to see me and complain about Liu Mian. Only now do I realize that compared to the Liu Mian from before, she seems like a completely different person. She's so hypocritical. Is that so? I asked, placing my hand on my stomach. Yes, you have no idea how pretentious she is. The roses for the wedding decorations have to be airlifted from abroad because she thinks local roses aren't grand enough. She insists on having 18 wedding dresses, not one less, and they all have to be designed by famous designers. And the diamond ring. Even though marrying me is just a formality for her, she still demands that I get her a One Love for Life diamond ring. Seeing the sarcastic smile on my face, Yi stopped. Yunshi, I will hold a wedding for you after you give birth to the child. It will definitely be more grand than this one. He finally remembered the promise he had made to me, and a guilty expression appeared on his face. I was too busy before and didn't have time to prepare. I will definitely make it up to you after you give birth to the child. Please believe me. I just smiled without responding, knowing full well that Yi wouldn't fulfill any of his promises. Right now, he just wants to coax me along. After all, his only heir is still in my belly. Yi affectionately stroked my belly and said, Yunshi, you need to eat well. You're not just one person now. You're 3. He's still dreaming that I'll give birth to twin sons for him. I smiled and replied, don't worry, I'll eat well. Of course, I will eat well. After all, I need to conserve my energy to give Yi a big surprise. The wedding of Yi and Liu Mian is fast approaching. Learning from past experiences, to prevent me, the jealous woman, from causing trouble again, Yi specifically arranged for several bodyguards to watch over me around the clock, ensuring I wouldn't show up at the wedding to cause a scene. He's afraid I might cause trouble. While Liu Mian is doing everything she can to provoke me and drive me crazy, Liu Mian continued to send me live updates of her and Yi's wedding using a secondary account. It must be said that Yi's love for Liu Mian is quite unique. He invited all the prominent and influential people in the city to attend his and Liu Mian's wedding. The wedding booked out an entire 5-star hotel, in addition to prominent figures from the political and business circles. Yi also invited many celebrities and big names to liven up the event. Surprisingly, the wedding was to be broadcast live on the day, which is why many media reporters arrived early and staked out the venue. Liu Mian, wearing a wedding dress designed by a renowned designer, a dazzling diamond necklace, and a crown, gracefully appeared at the wedding venue in high heels studded with tiny diamonds. Several exquisitely dressed little flower girls held up the long train of her oversized wedding dress. The flashbulbs were popping on the scene, and people were not holding back their praise for Liu Mian. The bride is so beautiful. Yes, she and President Yi are a match made in heaven, a perfect pair of talent and beauty. I heard they grew up together, deeply in love and inseparable. They went through many hardships but ultimately ended up together. So touching. Their story truly embodies the saying true lovers will eventually be united. Amid the praises from the audience, Liu Mianmian walked gracefully onto the stage with a proper smile on her face, accompanied by the wedding march. At the center of the stage, Yi Ziyi, dressed in a custom-made formal suit, looked at Liu Mianmian with a gentle smile as he awaited his bride. Both of their faces were adorned with sweet smiles as they gazed deeply into each other's eyes. Soon, Liu Mianmian walked to Yi Ziyi's side. The host was passionately reciting the wedding vows. Next, Yi Ziyi and Liu Mianmian publicly exchanged vows, pledging to the wedding guests that they would love each other for a lifetime and never part. The flower children presented the wedding rings, and the couple affectionately placed them on each other's fingers. Then, amidst cheers from everyone, they shared a kiss. The large screen at the center of the wedding stage promptly began playing a video of photos showcasing Yi Ziyi and Liu Mianmian from their childhood. This is one of the segments of the wedding interaction, designed to let everyone witness the deep bond between Liu Mianmian and Yi Ziyi, from their childhood through adolescence and youth, all the way to adulthood. However, what no one expected was that what appeared on the big screen was not the pre-prepared behind-the-scenes video. Instead, it was an unusual and discordant scene that made everyone blush, their hearts race, and feel utterly ashamed. Yi Ziyi and Liu Mianmian were originally locked in an inseparable, lingering kiss. Suddenly hearing the amplified and piercingly embarrassing sound, both of them were stunned. They simultaneously stopped their lingering kiss and looked toward the source of the sound. The woman on the big screen had the exact same face as the bride at the wedding scene. However, she looked a few years younger, wearing sexy lace and dancing seductively as she moved gracefully toward the man sitting on the sofa. Then he crouched down and bent over. The footage continued to roll, and everyone stared in disbelief, looking back and forth between the big screen and Liu Mianmian, who was standing next to Yi Ziyi. Yi Ziyi's face turned ashen, and Liu Mianmian was also stunned by the unexpected turn of events. She never expected that the shameful incident of her abandoning Yi Ziyi to pursue a wealthy second-generation heir would be recorded and preserved on video. I never expected this scene to appear at the wedding. Liu Mianmian let out a shriek like a screaming chicken. Turn it off right now. No one paid attention to Liu Mianmian's screams, and those disgraceful images continued to scroll. Different men, different races, different ages. A woman, however, is an eternal constant. Liu Mianmian's legs felt weak. She tried to grab hold of Yi Ziyi, clinging to him like a lifeline as she defended herself. Ziyi, this isn't true. Someone set me up. It must be Ji Yunxi. She's behind this. She wants to ruin me. It was certain that someone had orchestrated all of this, and it was equally certain that they intended to ruin Liu Mianmian. However, Yi Ziyi clearly saw the close-up of the woman on the screen. It wasn't a photoshopped image or a composite. He knew very well that the woman in the video was Liu Mianmian. This was the exact expression and demeanor she had when she came back to flirt with him. Yi Ziyi had always believed that Liu Mianmian had no choice but to leave him back then. He always thought that Liu Mianmian only married because she was forced into it. Liu Mianmian was the one Yi Ziyi loved but couldn't have, the one he cherished most. He couldn't accept just passing by her like that. He thought that once he became the richest man, he could do whatever he wanted, including obtaining the woman he had dreamed of since his youth. So when Liu Mianmian came to Yi Ziyi, shed a few tears, and spoke of her helplessness and insincerity, Yi Ziyi's heart softened. He loves Liu Mianmian, and he must fulfill his dream. But when Yi Ziyi saw these scenes before his eyes and witnessed Liu Mianmian's other side, the convictions he had held so firmly in his heart finally crumbled. He mercilessly pushed Liu Mianmian away, and she tried to grab Yi Ziyi's hand again. At that moment, the scene on the big screen changed. Liu Mianmian, with a lady's cigarette in her mouth and her long legs crossed, coquettishly boasted to another unfamiliar man, "Darling, don't worry. I will definitely be able to take possession of Yi Ziyi's family fortune. Yi Ziyi is just a fool. He's madly in love with me. As long as I go back and shed a few tears, fabricate a few stories about how I had no choice, and then claim that I'm suffering from depression, he will surely take me back and help us raise our son. You don't need to worry about Yi Ziyi's wife. Yi Ziyi is a stubborn and self-willed person. I just need to use a little trick to create some evidence of his wife's infidelity. and it will drive a wedge between Yi and Ji Yunshi. When the time comes, we'll find a way to get rid of Ji Yunshi and the child in her womb. Yi will be left all alone and unable to have children. Once I figure out how to poison him, all his property will rightfully belong to me, his legitimate wife. Then we can be together again. Yi watched the video of Liu Mian confidently making promises to the man, his eyes blazing with fury. He raised his hand and slapped Liu Mian across the face. "You bitch, how dare you scheme against me?" Liu Mian was knocked to the ground by the heavy slap, and Yi immediately turned to leave, breathing heavily. Yi felt as if he had suddenly awakened after seeing Liu Mian's ugly face on the big screen. He finally remembered why he had come back. He had suddenly fallen ill and passed away 3 months after Ji Yunshi and the twin children died in a fall. His health had always been good, so he couldn't understand why he had died so young. Now, after watching Liu Mian's video, he finally understood. In my previous life, I did not die a natural death but was poisoned to death by Liu Mian using drugs. That venomous woman, Liu Mian. Yi was both furious and relieved, grateful that he had not repeated the mistakes of his past life in this one. Ji Yunshi was still carrying his child, and both Ji Yunshi and the child were alive. Although he had been sterilized, as long as the child remained, there was still a future. In this world, only Ji Yunshi would unconditionally treat him well. Later, he must sincerely apologize to Ji Yunshi and make sure to protect both her and their child. However, Yi's relief lasted less than 2 seconds. The assistant hurriedly came over carrying a package. "Mr. Yi, this is something Madam asked me to give to you." "What is it?" Yi asked in confusion. "Madam said it's a gift for you and that you would definitely like it. She specifically instructed that you must open it yourself." Yi opened the package with a puzzled expression, and what caught his eye was a glass bottle. How could Ji Yunshi give a glass bottle to herself? Yi's first reaction was that it wasn't good, and then he saw the red, blood clot-like object inside the glass bottle. What is this?" The assistant shook his head. "I don't know. But Madam said there's a letter inside for you." Yi, hearing his assistant say this, lowered his head and found the letter that Ji Yunshi had given him in the box. He immediately opened it, and the first thing that caught his eye was a neatly written sentence. "Your children are inside, I've sent them to you. I hope you like them." "What?" Yi's hand trembled, his gaze returned to the glass bottle in front of him, and he finally saw it clearly. Indeed. Inside the glass bottle were pieces of flesh and blood. So, is this his and Ji Yunshi's child? Did Ji Yunshi abort his child? Yi stared in disbelief at the blood clots in the glass bottle. It's over. He has no heir. He will never have his own child in this lifetime. This realization made Yi tremble uncontrollably. It took all his strength to steady himself enough to pull out his phone from his pocket and dial Ji Yunshi's number. The phone rang but no one answered. Yi called again and again. Until finally, the call connected. "Why are you treating me like this?" The voice that answered Yi was not Ji Yunshi's, but that of an unfamiliar man. "Mr. Yi, your words are quite interesting. It's the survival of the fittest. Men die for wealth, birds die for food. Since you could heartlessly abandon your wife who shared your hardships, why can't she fight back? Who are you? Who I am is not important. What matters is that your company has been acquired by me." Impossible. How could this be? Let me remind you, Mr. Yi, MS. Ji Yunshi holds 60% of your company's assets. She has now transferred all of them to me. Yi couldn't believe it, gasping and roaring. "Put Ji Yunshi on the phone, right now, immediately." After a moment, my soft voice came from the other end. "What did you want to say to me? Yunshi, you're joking with me, right? You just want to scare me, right? You love me so much, you definitely wouldn't want to hurt me." "You're absolutely right, I did love you very much, and I really didn't want to hurt you, but that was the Ji Yunshi from the previous life. How could the Ji Yunshi who has been reborn in this life possibly let go of those who hurt her?" I spoke each word clearly and deliberately. "Yi, from the moment I came back. I've been thinking about making you pay every single moment. Now I've done it. I hope you enjoy the game that follows." You came back too, Yunshi." "I'm not." The phone was hung up, and when Yi called back, he found himself blocked. He let out a desperate wail. 3 days later, Yi, the wealthiest man, was announced to be arrested by the prosecuting authorities. The charges were numerous. including tax evasion, bribery, and suspicion of criminal activities like black eating black. Among multiple other offenses, he is facing a lifetime behind bars, and I boarded a flight to France with the cashed-out fortune.